You're over 60 and you use cash even occasionally. This is something you'll want to stay with because from 15 December 2025, the way many people access money at ATMs is quietly changing across the UK. Now, before anyone panics, this isn't about banks taking your money or shutting accounts overnight, but it is about new rules and systems that could catch a lot of people off guard if they don't know what's coming. For years, using an ATM has been simple. You put your card in, enter your PIN, take your cash, and go about your day. Most of us don't even think twice about it anymore, but banks and regulators are now making adjustments behind the scenes, and those changes start to affect everyday users, especially people over 60 from mid-December. What's interesting is that many people won't notice these changes straight away. Everything might look normal at first. Same machine, same card, same routine. But if you're not aware of the updated rules, you could run into small problems that turn into big frustrations. Things like unexpected transaction issues, extra checks, or confusion at the machine when you least expect it. And that's why this matters. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's practical. Cash is still important for millions of older adults, whether it's for shopping, budgeting, or simply feeling more in control of finances. Any change to how ATMs work deserves a clear explanation without jargon, without rumors, and without panic. And so, in this video, we're going to calmly walk through what's actually changing from the 15th of December 2025, why these new ATM rules are being introduced, and what they mean in real life for people over 60. Nothing exaggerated, nothing misleading, just the facts explained in a way that actually makes sense. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect the next time you visit an ATM and how to avoid unnecessary stress when these changes come into effect. Now that you understand why these new ATM rules matter, let's slow things down and talk through what's actually changing, because once you see the full picture, it becomes much easier to deal with. One of the biggest reasons people feel anxious about updates like this is because they imagine the worst. In reality, most of these changes are about how withdrawals are processed, how security checks work behind the scenes, and how banks are trying to reduce fraud while still allowing people to access their money. Over the past few years, banks and cash machine providers have seen a rise in scams that specifically target older customers. This isn't something many people like to talk about, but it's a major reason why new rules are being introduced now. Fraudsters are becoming more convincing, and sadly, many of the cases involve cash withdrawals made under pressure or confusion. Because of this, banks have been told to introduce extra safeguards at ATMs, especially for customers over 60, starting from mid-December 2025. One of the first things people may notice after December 15th is that some ATMs will take slightly longer to process withdrawals. This doesn't mean the machine is broken, and it doesn't mean your account has a problem. What's happening is that additional background checks are being carried out before cash is released. For most people, this delay will only be a few seconds, but if you're not expecting it, it can feel unsettling at first. Another change involves withdrawal patterns. If you usually take out small amounts now and then, you're unlikely to notice much difference. But if you withdraw larger sums in one go, or if your pattern suddenly changes, the ATM system may pause or ask you to confirm the transaction. This is designed to prevent situations where someone is being pressured into taking out more cash than usual. It's not accusing you of anything. It's simply a safeguard that activates when something looks different from your normal behavior. Some people over 60 have also reported seeing new on-screen messages at ATMs, explaining delays, or asking them to double-check the amount they've entered. These messages are part of the December update. They're meant to slow things down just enough for people to think clearly before continuing. While it may feel unnecessary if you know exactly what you're doing, these prompts have been shown to reduce mistakes and unwanted withdrawals. It's also important to understand that not all ATMs will behave exactly the same way. Machines operated directly by banks may implement these rules slightly differently from independent cash machines. That means you could notice changes at one ATM, but not at another. This inconsistency can be confusing, which is why knowing about the update in advance really helps. Another area that's changing is daily withdrawal limits. Now, this does not mean that everyone over 60 will suddenly be restricted to lower amounts. What it does mean is that banks will be more careful when higher limits are used. In some cases, the ATM may refuse a large withdrawal and ask you to try again later, or contact your bank. This can be frustrating if you're not prepared for it, but it's meant to stop rushed decisions and protect your balance. For people who rely heavily on cash for budgeting, this update may require a small adjustment. Instead of taking out a large amount all at once, some may find it easier to make smaller withdrawals spread over a few days. While that's not ideal for everyone, it can help avoid declined transactions and unnecessary stress at the machine. There's also been concern about whether these new ATM rules affect pension payments. The short answer is no. Your pension still goes into your bank account as normal. Nothing about the payment itself is changing. What's different is how you access the money once it's there. If you usually withdraw your pension in cash soon after it arrives, you may notice these new checks during that process. Another question many people have is whether they need to register or apply for anything. The good news is that you don't. These changes happen automatically through the ATM system. There's no form to fill in, no deadline to meet, and no action required just to keep using your card. The key thing is awareness, not paperwork. That said, it's a good idea to make sure your bank has your correct contact details. In some cases, if a withdrawal is delayed or declined, your bank may send a text message or notification to confirm it was really you. If your phone number is out of date, that confirmation could take longer, which is something you want to avoid when standing at an ATM. Some people have asked whether using a card inside a bank branch will be easier than using a street ATM. In many cases, yes. ATMs located inside branches often have more support options, and if something goes wrong, staff may be available to help. If you're planning to withdraw a larger amount after mid-December, choosing an in-branch machine could save time and stress. It's also worth mentioning that these rules apply regardless of whether you're withdrawing during the day or at night. However, extra checks may feel more noticeable during quieter hours when systems are running more cautiously. If you ever feel unsure, there's no harm in canceling the transaction and trying again later. For couples or family members who help each other with cash withdrawals, this update is especially important. If someone else normally withdraws cash for you using your card, that may trigger additional checks. Banks are encouraging people to avoid sharing cards where possible, as this can complicate things under the new system. Another thing to keep in mind is that these ATM updates are not permanent in their current form. Banks will monitor how they work over time and may adjust them. That means what feels new and awkward in December could become smoother by early next year as systems improve and people get used to the changes. Emotionally, it's completely normal to feel annoyed by updates like this. Many people over 60 feel they've already adapted to enough changes, and anything involving money can feel personal. The key is remembering that these rules aren't about taking control away from you. They're about adding an extra layer of protection. If you ever experience repeated problems at an ATM after December 15th, the best step is to contact your bank directly rather than switching machines repeatedly. A quick conversation can often clear things up and prevent the same issue happening again. As December approaches, the most helpful thing you can do is talk about this update with friends or family who also use ATMs regularly. Many people will have no idea these changes are coming, and a simple heads up could save them a lot of confusion later. By understanding what's changing, why it's happening, and how it may affect everyday withdrawals, you put yourself back in control. These ATM rules aren't something to fear, but they are something to be prepared for. And as we move closer to December 15th, 2025, staying informed is the best way to make sure your next trip to the cash machine is as smooth and stress-free as possible. JD.